خلق al-insan, creation of mankind. One of the greatest creations of Allah is insan, the human being himself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Insan, "Verily, we have created man from nutfa, drops of mixed semen, sexual discharge of man and woman, in order to test him. So we made him hearer and seer." So man is made from a mixture of water, partly from a male and partly from a female, and is created to be tested. And hence, what has been given to him for this test is the faculty of sam and basar, of hearing and seeing. We are what we see and what we hear, and these are two areas of input to the body which will influence the inner thoughts, the aql, and the emotions in the heart, from which will come forth the action, the amal, which will be questioned and one will be accountable for. So assess, what kind of conversations do our ears hear? What kinds of things do our eyes watch? And which types of environment do they generally find themselves in? Because it is these two sources of input into the body, into the aql, the mind, and the heart that make man eligible for testing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Nahl, He has created man from nutfa, then behold, this same man becomes an open opponent. Allah highlights that with the ni'mats given, with the blessings given to him, man forgets that his origin is but from a despicable liquid. Had it been left there, it would start to smell. Such a humble beginning, yet Allah fashioned it with body and mind and intellect, and yet man uses that same faculty and rationale and uses it in denial of Allah and does away with His commands or even His existence, na'udhu billah, or against Him as an open opponent. Isn't that the height of extreme ingratitude and arrogance? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah At-Tariq, "So let man see from what he is created. He is created from a water gushing forth, proceeding from between the backbone and the ribs. Very Allah is able to bring back to life." And so Allah tells man to see what you are made of, O man, a gushing liquid from which all the body parts then form, and the structure of a fetus comes about and then in turn becomes a whole person. Can He not then create you all over again for another world? Do you not see how easy it is for Him to create you from almost nothing but a gushing liquid? That's all you were. That's how you began. Should you then observe and contemplate and reflect yourselves? Allah says in Surah Al-Dhariyat, and also in yourselves, will you not then see? So then why does man disbelieve? Or why is he reluctant to eat and dress and live and earn as Allah commanded him to, when all he is in reality is a sperm drop, and it is Allah that then fashioned him in due proportion with all his features and bodily structures? Then He, Allah, made the path of growth for him easy by providing everything in the world that man could need. And He made the path of spiritual growth easy for him by sending him the guidance to follow, the Quran and the Sunnah and the Anbiya, the prophets and the angels that conveyed it to them. Then He, Allah, will give him death, and man will reach his grave. And then whenever Allah wills, He will resurrect him. And even that is at a time that Allah wills. Does man not see the might and quwwat and qadr and power and authority of Allah? Does he show arrogance and denial with his attitude and own rationale? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Abasa, "Be cursed, the disbelieving man. How ungrateful he is. From what thing did He create him? From nutfa. He created him and then set him in due proportion. Then He makes the path easy for him. Then He causes him to die and puts him in his grave. Then, when it is His will, He will resurrect him again. قُتِلَ الْإِنسَانُ مَا أَكْفَرَ مِنْ أَيِّ شَيْءٍ خَلَقَ مِنْ نُطْفَةٍ خَلَقَهُ فَقَدَّرَ ثُمَّ السَّبِيلَ يَسَّرَ ثُمَّ أَمَاتَهُ فَأَقْبَرَ ثُمَّ إِذَا شَاءَ أَنشَرَ." In fact, He made Adam alayhi salam from dust, from the earth, and Hawa alayhi salam from Adam's alayhi salam's rib. And then from these two, our parents, the rest of mankind was born from the mixing of two liquids, and then generations after generations were born in this way and then dispersed throughout the whole earth and formed nations. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Ar-Rum, "And among His signs is this, that He created you, Adam, from dust, and then Hawa from Adam's rib, and then his offspring from the semen, and behold, you are human beings scattered." And our father Adam was made from a mixture of water and earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ سُلَالَةٍ مِنْ طِينٍ. And indeed, He created man, Adam, out of an extract of clay, water, and earth. So a mud that was left to ferment for a while and smell till it became an altered mud and then fashioned into the shape of Adam alayhi salam. In Surah Al-Hijr, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and indeed we created man from dried sounding clay of altered mud. And then this mud became like a sounding clay of pottery. Allah says, خَلَقَ الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ صَلْصَالٍ كَالْفَخَّارِ. He created man, Adam, from sounding clay like the clay of pottery. And so this is man's humble beginning, that his father Adam alayhi salam was made from mud and water, which is left till it is black and moldable, and then was made into a man, Adam alayhi salam. And the subsequent generations were formed by the coming together of a despicable, despised fluid of male and female discharges. All is the planning of Allah. Allah says in Surah Al-Sajdah, who made everything? He has created good, and He began the creation of man from clay. Then He made his offspring from semen of despised water. After the conception of the egg and the sperm, only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes care of it and nourishes it, as He is the Rabbul Alameen of all the worlds, including the world of the egg. And that is all that we were, and the world of the embryo, and the world of the fetus that grows and is nourished within the womb through the umbilical cord. So who creates this cord as a source of nutrition to the baby? Only Allah. And before this cord even formed, who nourished those cells to thrive within? Only Allah. Who took care through all the stages of growth and development? Only Allah. Some people may be familiar with the story of a newborn baby that survived under a recent earthquake under the rubble, and it survived with its connection to its mother's umbilical cord. Who created that cord and that nutrition for the baby? And the Quran describes those stages that the baby goes through in detail over 1400 years ago, even before medical science knew about the process of growth within these 3 trimesters. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clarifies the stages of man's creation from the beginning of his creation till his end, and indicates when the ruh, the soul, comes into the child, and how Allah provides a raham, a womb, as a secure place for the fetus to thrive, a sac-like structure to cradle and protect it, unlike a blood vessel, but rather like a container of firm lodging. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Mu'minun, and indeed we created Adam, man, out of an extract of clay, water and earth. Thereafter we made him, the offspring of Adam, as a nutfa, mixed drops of the male and female discharge, and lodged it in a safe lodging, the womb of the woman. Then we made the nutfa into a clot, a piece of thick coagulated blood. Then we made the clot into a little lump of flesh. Then we made out of that lump of flesh bones. Then we clothed the bones with flesh, and then we brought it forth as another creation. So blessed is Allah, the best of creators. Narrated Abdullah ibn Masud radiallahu anh, that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the true and truly inspired, said, the matter of the creation of a human being is put together in the womb of the mother in 40 days, and then he becomes a clot of thick blood for a similar period, and then a piece of flesh for a similar period. Then Allah sends an angel who is ordered to write 4 things. He's ordered to write down the new creature's deeds, his livelihood, his date of death, and whether he will be blessed or wretched in religion. Then the soul is breathed into him. So a man amongst you may do good deeds till there is only a cubit between him and paradise, and then what has been written for him decides his behavior, and he starts doing evil deeds, characteristics of the people of the fire. And similarly, a man amongst you may do evil deeds till there is only a cubit between him and the hellfire, and then what has been written for him decides his behavior, and he starts doing good deeds, characteristics of the people of paradise. And this is in Sahih al-Bukhari.